Says we're live. Think we're live. So welcome to the Energy Healing Lifestyle Journal Self-Care Challenge. My name is Robin Knott, and I'm your host of the channel and the founder of the energyhealingschool.com. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through my journaling process and share some real-life examples along the way. So if you have your journal, I have mine. Come journal with me. Don't forget, there is a link in the description that you can schedule, hop on, just so I know you're coming. Hop on the Zoom live with me to literally journal with me live. Replays are great too, just saying. You can hop on the live as well, ask some questions or share some of your experiences, if you will, if you would like. So getting ready to journal. How do you get ready? I like to write things out on my journal, try to get my attention, focus my energy on it. I should say, set the intention, right, to journal, to be present in the journaling process, to be open to whatever comes in, allowing it to come in. I write out self-care challenge and underline the letter that we're focused on for the day. So today being Tuesday, we focus on the letter E, which stands for emotions, or keeping in mind that emotions are energy in motion. And I say that because just to share the value of our emotions, to show how important they are. So I've mentioned before that in our humanness, we've really, like society, right? Society has really disregarded emotions or made them this terrible thing. How do you feel about that? Like, oh my gosh, you had a feeling. There's something wrong with you. What is wrong with you? Right? Like people actually say that or feel that way. We are told that we're wrong for having emotions. And it's really just because oftentimes people don't know how to deal with them. Like we weren't taught how to manage our emotions. We weren't taught that they're quote unquote normal to have emotions, right? So we together, we can normalize that yes, in fact, it is normal to have a human emotion. And just because it's an emotion that maybe you don't quite like or it's not your favorite to feel, and maybe other people are uncomfortable around it, that's on them, right? We are entitled. I don't love that word, but we have the right to have feelings. It's normal. Normal. So anyways, let me get off my soapbox. So emotions, energy, and motion, and emotions are governed by the sacral chakra. So we talk about sacral chakra energy today as well, right? Excuse me. So all that in mind, then writing out the journal prompt. And today's journal prompt, what does betrayal feel like? So as always, there's different directions we can take this, right? So the first direction, again, just following what comes up in our mindset, right? So the first direction I took with it was dealing with other people, right? Human to human betrayal, if you will. So when you think of emotions, you think of feelings, think of them as one word. So I've mentioned this before as well. It's common in our language, just in the way that we speak, that we might say something like, well, I feel like this, that, and the other is happening. That's not really a feeling. You're describing your thoughts, or you're explaining and adding thought to a particular feeling you might be having. Feelings, emotions specifically, are one word: sad, happy, betrayed, disappointed, which these are some that I actually wrote down as well, angry, resentful, revengeful, unworthy was another one that came up. So just listing out some of those feelings words as is, with no other thoughts coming about with it just yet. But then I asked myself, as I do, got to ask not just the why, but digging in a little bit more, kind of questioning, right? Because sometimes the first layer or the initial reaction, the initial feeling, the initial thought isn't the only one that we have. Sometimes that's just that triggered response, triggered reaction. But then we go a little bit beyond that. And we're like, right? We start to process, and then we start to do some clearing, and then we might throw in a level of understanding to go with that. There's some compassion even, right? So one question that came about for me was, are people supposed to be loyal to other people? I get to a degree, of course, right? I get to a degree. Like when I think of intimate relationships, not just intimate, but like your partnership. If you are in a relationship, if you are married, if you are in that type of relationship together, romantic relationship, I know there was a word for it, then to me, loyalty kind of goes in line with loyal in the sense of like not cheating on each other, right? Being faithful. However, that's not the only way that people are loyal to each other, right? But as that example, I would get that and I would say yes. Then, if that's the commitment and agreement that you made with each other, then you should maintain that. However, people change, things happen, but there's a way that we can go about it, right? And that also came up in the journaling process, the how we move through changes. So let's say, you're in love. I mean, I'm divorced twice. So in those situations, you have your relationship, it falls apart in a sense. I'll just say it that way, it falls apart. But how do you move through the ending part, that transitional space? Do you bash the heck out of each other? I'm sure I did some bashing. Do you cheat on the other person, right? That kind of thing. So where are the limits of loyalty? So some might say that no, your loyalty means that once you're together, and there is no separation to that. Someone else might say, yeah, when things change, if or when things change, be respectful along the way as you transition out of that relationship, right? Someone else might say, um, yeah, just don't cheat, right? Like let the person know that you want to be with someone else. Don't just hide it and go do it. We all apply our own meanings and have our own beliefs and then have that discussion, right? So there is levels and not levels, but different circumstances, different layers, different beliefs about it, in what way we are loyal to other people, or how humans should word should be loyal to another human in what way. So more that came up was in another aspect, do humans stay loyal to humans even when they're divinely guided to go in a different direction, if they have another path per se? That could pose difficulties in relationships as well, right? Now, I don't believe that we're divinely guided to say, hey, stump this person to go to that one. However, maybe like your life path, you might be divinely guided to do something or go in a particular direction, and your partner is like, that's not for me at all. And then that could lead to a separation type of situation, right? That I could understand. What else? Then, as I mentioned, it came up to the what is loyalty and what is betrayal? How do you define it? What does that mean to you? We all have different beliefs and meanings about it. Some are like, you know, and some are more rigid, like, no, no, none of that. Once you're in it, you're in it, right? So, how do we define them? How do we detach and stop personalizing other people's choices and paths? That was another one. So, I think that comes into play as well when we look at like loyalty and betrayal. It's situational, of course, right? We could have discussions about, and I would obviously recommend journaling it out to see what those moments of when we are actually, I'm quoting, actually betrayed, versus are people just doing what they need to do in their own human experience, and then we personalize that because it's very different than what we intended. Now, I'm going to say obviously, if somebody's just turning their back on you and bashing you and talking bad about you, that's not exactly the same thing, right? But just that idea of people going in different directions or not showing up for us in the same ways they used to, kind of thing. Maybe that looks different. But sometimes as humans, we get drawn and guided to go in different directions, right? Is that the same as betraying someone? I'm asking. Y'all could tell me. And then, because bring it back to ourselves, right? As we do for our own self-awareness, do we betray ourselves? Choosing humanness, ego above spirit, above the source of unconditional love. I know I've done it. So in a sense, my humanness has betrayed my highest self, right? So what does that feel like when you recognize it? What does it feel like when you've dipped so deeply into the humanness, betraying the highest self? So even along these paths, right? Like when you're getting started doing this, I'll just use that example, getting started doing this, doing videos, creating courses, excuse me, trying to find ways to advertise that don't feel icky. Because nobody, well, I won't say nobody. I didn't want to have to do the advertising because it feels icky. However, how do you reach people if you don't do some form of advertisement, right? Then, like, you don't. So, how do you help people if you're not reaching them? Logistics. Anyway, so at getting started, the humanness and the ego has so much fear. What if? There's like this fear of being seen and fear of being heard. Even though there's a desire to be seen and heard, there's also a fear around being seen and heard, fear of rejection. Or what if, a lot of what ifs. What if this happens? What if I fail? What if I do it wrong? What if I say something wrong? What if I misunderstood? I'm always misunderstood. What if I misunderstood? The inner critic, the judgment, against self kind of thing. Fear of success. What if I'm successful? What would that life look like? Right? That might look so different than what I'm used to now. Either way, when you feel like you have such a deep purpose and you have such a deep desire to help other people, and then you have what some call a gift or a talent or just a natural, I say gift because of like love and compassion, right? Being an empath, having a level of just being able to put yourself in certain situations that can help in the way that you communicate with other people, or just how you hold that space for other people, or just the energy that you share when you're sharing space with other people. When you have those things and then you don't show up and you don't share and you don't try, then you're betraying your highest self, right? You're betraying, in a sense, your own purpose. You're betraying, in a sense, your own contracts, your life experiences, opportunities, and possibilities, right? So what does that feel like when you hear that? What does that feel like when you recognize that, when you see it, when you finally are like, ooh, hmm. Yes, we know the word betray. However, there's other feelings and emotions that come along with it. And I'm begging you to not let the fear or the blame, shame, and guilt get in the way. Because sometimes we do that, right? When we increase our self-awareness and we see those moments of like, oh, there it is. Then we start beating ourselves up, the inner critic jumps out, or the judgment, judgment against ourselves comes into play. It's not about blame, shame, and guilt. These are just an opportunity to explore, to go a little deeper, to try to find the core of some of the things that get in our way still so that we can clear it away and release it. Got another new year coming up, huh? So clear and release the things that no longer serve us. So with that being said, protecting your energy, setting boundaries, definitely let's start 2024 protecting our energy and setting healthy boundaries, not just setting them, but maintaining them, living by them. So if you have not yet taken the Empathic Healers Masterclass, it's all about that, protecting your energy and setting boundaries. Please do that. It's free. Also, pre-launch for the BU challenge. I'm looking at January, obviously at this point, right? We're already at the end of December. I'll let you know on a date. But yeah, my gift to you while in pre-launch mode, it's not expensive anyways, but if you'd like half off still, get it while it's in pre-launch mode. use the word pre-launch. That's why I keep saying the word. Coupon code pre-launch. Yeah. So go to theenergyhealingschool.com and you will find all of these. The 7-day chakra healing challenge, the Empathic Healers Masterclass. I have Reiki classes, the 5-day BU challenge. There's a 5-day money blocks clearing challenge. So definitely go into the new year breaking money blocks, right? And before I forget, Sacral Chakra Energy. So again, emotions, feelings governed by the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra also governs our reproductive organs. So when that energy is wonky, you might notice some difficulty, challenges, imbalances in reproduction or in your organs and your cycles if you're female. Urinary tract, bladder, low back pain, might have insecurities, again, blame, shame, guilt, feeling a need to control, feeling the chaos, which can bring about that need to control, right? Low creativity, depression, anxiety, and having just erratic emotions, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Sometimes we think like, am I bipolar? Which means oftentimes those, manic and then real highs and real lows. Sometimes it's just wonky energy. Sometimes it's just because life in the moment is kind of wonky. So then our emotions get wonky. Sometimes depression and anxiety, when you flip, switch back and forth, dealing with depression, and then you kind of get the spike of anxiety, and then you have an anxiety crash, and you're low on depression or this exhausted feeling. Again, just wonky energy. So some ways you can support your energy, allowing yourself to feel it even when it's wonky and chaotic, because we are normalizing human emotions, right? Journaling them out. Take note of what you're thinking about. Take note of what might trigger those highs and lows. Increase your self-awareness, right? I challenge you to do that. What else can I give you for solfeggio frequencies for sacral chakra energy? The one that resonates is 417 hertz. And of course, water. The elemental healing for the sacral chakra is water, which includes crying. It's a great release. It's a healthy release. Drinking plenty of water, taking a shower, just being by bodies of water and absorbing that energy. It's very cleansing. So let me know how you are doing in your journaling process, what this journal prompt and process was like for you, what came up for you. Please continue to take care of you. Thank you for sharing your time and space. I will see you tomorrow for Wednesday, solar plexus chakra energy. So much